Hello, it's Red Recapped speaking. Today, I will be giving a rundown of the movie Stagecoach: The Texas Jack Story, which was released in 2016. Please note that there will be spoilers in my review. Without further ado, let's dive into the film. The movie revolves around Texas Jack, a former cowboy turned outlaw seeking revenge and redemption. He faces challenges from lawmen and rival criminals while reflecting on his past and relationships. The film combines elements of action and drama set in the Old West. The movie opens with two men in a horse-drawn carriage working as delivery drivers. As they journey down the road, they are startled to find a man lying in their path. One of the drivers becomes wary and draws his gun, firing at the man, but misses. His intention was to check if the man was alive, believing the gunshot would rouse him. However, the man remains motionless, suggesting he is dead. Suddenly, another person aims a gun at the delivery drivers, revealing it to be a trap set by robbers. One of the robbers had pretended to be lifeless in the road to force the drivers to stop, allowing the others to ambush them. There were 4 robbers altogether, who swiftly seized the horses from the carriage. They then searched the carriage and discovered a woman and a box filled with gold coins. One of the robbers accidentally removed his mask, exposing his face to the woman, while another robber, who was inspecting the gold, acted kindly towards her after taking the box. The robbers rode off on their horses while the courier attempted to shoot one of them. However, the robber was armed with both a gun and a rifle, leading to the courier's failure. Ultimately, he was shot in his left eye. Years later, the courier was seen with Nath, a farmer who was among the robbers responsible for his injury. One day, a bank officer and his friend Hank Holliday visited Nath. Hank warned Nath that if he didn't pay his overdue debt, which had been late for 3 months, the bank would seize his house and farm. Nath was given until the following month to settle the payment. He agreed, explaining that his wife was unwell. Suddenly, Nath's wife, Laura, appeared to greet Hank. Nath quickly signaled Hank to leave to avoid alarming Laura about their conversation. Nonetheless, Laura sensed something was off with Nath and inquired about it, prompting him to reveal the truth. After Laura went back inside, Nath's old acquaintance Frank, also a former robber, arrived. Nath expressed his anger, but Frank informed him that their comrade Clint had been killed by the police, and now the authorities were pursuing them both. Meanwhile, a local doctor they trusted examined Laura. It was discovered that her sickness and nausea were due to her pregnancy, something both Nath and Laura had long wished for. The next morning, while having breakfast together, Nath appeared anxious and restless, but Laura was thrilled about her pregnancy and wanted to share the news. However, noticing Nath's tension, Laura asked if he was worried about his debts. Nath then revealed his gun to her. Although Laura was aware of Nath's history as a robber, she accepted it because he wanted to reform before she could share her pregnancy news. A police officer and a woman showed up in front of their home, presumably searching for Nath with harmful intentions. At that moment, Nath advised Laura to conceal herself upstairs with a firearm and told Frank to exit the house. Nath wanted to evade conflict and sought a peaceful resolution, so he bravely approached the one-eyed policeman outside without any weapon. To his shock, the officer was Calhoun, the same person Nath and his friends had previously robbed, leading to Calhoun losing his eye. Calhoun was not there to perform his duties, but to seek revenge. Suddenly, Frank began firing from behind, igniting a confrontation that spilled into Nath's house. Inside, Calhoun and his partner Bonnie separated to search for Nath and Frank. Nath confronted Bonnie while Calhoun went upstairs toward where Laura was hiding. Laura quickly shot at Calhoun, hitting him in the right side of his chest, but he retaliated, shooting back at her. Shortly after, Frank informed Nath that Laura had been shot in the head and had died. Nath was in disbelief and wanted to check on her, but Frank insisted they leave the house immediately. The next morning, Nath awoke alone in the woods, realizing that Frank had deserted him. Eventually, Frank returned, revealing that the police had left, but had left Laura's body at the entrance. Nath was stunned and unable to speak. Frank then proposed they resume their previous activities of robbing and suggested meeting an old acquaintance named Sid Dalton. When Nath met Sid, he was impressed by Sid's homemade alcoholic beverage made from apple juice, which Sid called Applejack. Afterward, Frank shared the details of what had befallen Nath and his family with Sid. Nath's spouse was killed by the police, who had once been the courier they robbed in solidarity. Sid agreed to team up with Frank and Nath, returning to their old life of crime. During one heist, Frank suggested that Nath adopt a new alias to evade Calhoun. Nath recalled Sid Dalton's apple drink and chose the name Texas Jack. This marked the start of Texas Jack's story. Although Nath had spent years stealing, he still mourned his wife Laura. One day, Sid finally viewed a picture of Nath and Laura, commenting on Laura's beauty. At the same time, Frank was gambling at a bar, but luck was not on his side as Kelvin and Bonnie entered. Kelvin decided to tease Frank, asking him to guess his identity. Frank's guess implicated Calhoun as the one responsible for his friend Clint's death. Initially thinking of fleeing, Frank soon realized he had no way out. Instead, he proposed a deal, offering to make Texas Jack, known as Nath, a wanted criminal in 4 countries. If Kelvin succeeded in killing Texas Jack, he would receive a significant reward. Frank agreed to let them know Texas Jack's location, but he demanded 20% of the reward. Kelvin accepted after a discussion with Calhoun. Frank and Texas Jack successfully committed another robbery, but Frank caused complications by killing a member of the Kerr gang. This infuriated Texas Jack, who realized that such violence would prompt the American police to pursue them more aggressively, putting their own lives at risk. When Texas Jack asked Frank for the safe's combination, Frank killed the last witness, fearing that they could testify if allowed to live. Jack was enraged and struck Frank before they left the area. Frank foolishly left a bottle of apple beer near the body. Later, while waiting for Frank's return at Nath's old house, Texas Jack and Sid Dalton grew impatient. Sid decided to head into town for supplies while they waited. In town, Sid was shocked to see a woman resembling Jack's deceased wife. When he inquired about her identity, he discovered her name was Laura. Sid rushed back to inform Jack about his discovery, but Frank still hadn't returned. While they chatted, Sid wanted to tell Jack what he had seen, but Jack insisted he wait since a courier was imminent. When the courier train arrived, they were astonished to find it completely empty. Shortly after Calhoun showed up, he revealed that he had set a trap for Jack and Sid by using information from Frank. A fight broke out, and Jack was shot in the stomach. Sid then approached Jack, sharing that he had seen Laura earlier. Initially, Jack was skeptical, but Sid urged him to visit her. Meanwhile, Sid chose to surrender. After the altercation, Jack regained consciousness in his childhood home and was shocked to learn that Laura was alive and had raised their son. He informed Laura about Frank's claim 6 years ago that she had been shot in the head. This falsehood had deeply troubled Jack, leading him back to his former life as a robber. Meanwhile, Sid was severely beaten by Bonnie, but Calhoun ordered a doctor to keep him alive. Soon after, Frank arrived and was furious when he witnessed Calhoun torturing Sid. However, he was shot and killed by Bonnie on Calhoun's orders. When Laura went to get medical supplies for Jack, she discovered Calhoun at the doctor's office where she and Jack typically went. She was quickly captured and taken hostage. Shortly after, Calhoun confronted Jack, informing him that he had imprisoned Laura at the doctor's place. When Jack arrived, he was horrified to see Laura in danger, and things escalated as Calhoun was preparing to hang Sid. Calhoun ordered Jack to drop his weapon and then shot him in the leg without warning. Jack swiftly found a hiding spot while Calhoun kicked Sid Dalton's foot, leaving him dangling. Luckily, Hank arrived to assist Jack, revealing that Calhoun wasn't actually a police officer. Upon hearing this, Jack swiftly retrieved his gun and skillfully shot the rope holding Sid, rescuing him. During the confrontation, Hank carried a long rifle while Jack wielded a pistol. Jack mentioned that he was already aware Calhoun wasn't a genuine officer. Meanwhile, Sid took advantage of the situation to move closer to Jack and borrowed one of his pistols to aid in the fight. Shortly after, Jack struck a deal with Calhoun, who still had Laura captive. Calhoun demanded Jack to approach without a gun for Laura's release. Jack consented, leading to Laura's freedom, but Calhoun nearly fired at Jack. However, Jack was quick and successfully shot Calhoun in the chest. Soon after, Native American police arrived and detained Calhoun, who had been masquerading as an officer and concealing bodies in a train car. A week later, Jack and his family were returning home from church when Sid Dalton stopped by. Jack informed Sid that he had started a new job as a sheriff in town. Sid was thrilled to hear this, and Jack and Laura invited him over for dinner. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thanks, and see you again soon. Take care.